Thank you for watching this training module. In this session, we'll be working on a hammock, which have some specific requirements. If you're watching this module, it is assumed that you have already watched video module number 1. If you have not yet done so, please stop here and watch the module 1 video first. You will notice that this hammock is from Central America, so the region product information will be in Spanish. You are welcome to work on items from our Spanish-speaking regions if you feel comfortable with translation. Otherwise, you will be better off sticking to those written in English. The regions that enter product information in Spanish are Mexico, Andes, and Central America. Brazil submits product information in Portuguese. The remainder of our regions enters product information in English. As always, I will first click on the photos. This will help me to describe the product accurately. The first field I must complete is the title field. It caught my eye that this hammock has 10 related items. So before I choose a title, I will see if any of the related items have titles that I can use for reference. When I click on the related items link, however, I see that none of the related items are live yet, which means that the translation and copywriting tasks have not yet been done. So I am on my own. The region title translates to rural landscape, which doesn't sound quite right for a title. I think I'd like to call it Sunset Vista. First, I must use the title check link to make sure that the title Sunset Vista is not yet in use. It is very important that we do not use the same product titles for more than one item in the same category. So when I do the query for the title and I come up with 0 hit count, that means I can use this title because it is not being used for any other items. Now I'll format my title. The formula for almost all products is to provide the material and the type of item, followed by a comma, and the title in single quotes. For hammocks, we'll always enter the material first, and the word hammock, and a comma, and our title. However, what you will add after the title on a hammock is the hammock size in parentheses. This happens to be a single hammock, so I will put single in parentheses after my title. If you don't know what size the hammock is at this point, just come back to that. Next, we need to enter the proper name. This is going to be the title I just chose without the single quotes, so I can just copy and paste. Moving down to the size info, I can see that there are 2 lines. Hammocks should always have 2 size entries, one for the bed length and width, and one for the total length. So I will label these just as so. Now, the way we determine the size of the hammock is by the width. You'll be given access to a hammock guide, which will help you determine what size a hammock is. If you refer to the chart on the hammock guide, a hammock that is 48 inches or 121 centimeters wide would be considered a single hammock. Therefore, the weight capacity is going to be stated as 300 pounds. Always go by the hammock guide when identifying whether a hammock is a single, double, or triple, and always use the weight capacity stated in this hammock guide, regardless of what other information the region may provide. Next, we come to materials. I do not need to concern myself with the trim or any hardware. So I just enter 100% acrylic. Now I've come to the long description. This is where I will create a well-written, appealing paragraph about the product. To do this, it can help to click on the region product info link. This is all of the information about the product that has been compiled by our Central America team. If I translate the region info, I can see that they've given us some great stuff to work with. The info indicates that the fabric for the hammocks is woven on traditional hand looms. In the color unique field, the region indicates that the maximum weight is 300 pounds. Disregard that particular piece of information. Weight capacity for a hammock is determined based on its size, and you should only go by the Novica Hammock Guide when making that determination. We'll come back to that shortly. The region info also describes the important role of hammocks in Mayan culture, and I read that the hammock's colors are inspired by Guatemala's landscape: orange tile roofs, green fields, yellow sun, and blue rivers. The only problem is that the photos do not show any green in this hammock, so I'm going to leave that part out. The remaining fields provide care instructions and indicate that the hammock should not be left outdoors. This is an important piece of information, as it means that it is not weatherproof. It could potentially fade in the sun, or if wet, the colors could run. Under accessories, the region is indicated that it comes with silver-toned metal rings, 2 of them. However, if we look at the photos, we can see that is something that is attached to the hammock. So we're not going to include that as an accessory. It would not be considered an accessory. Some of our hammocks do come with hanging hardware and rope, and the region would indicate that if it was the case here. So I'll return to my long description field and enter my description. Now I've finished my long description, so I can move on. When I go down to the short description, I want to enter a well-flowing description that is keyword rich, and it should be changed up as much as possible from one product to the next for search engine optimization purposes. All words should be in title case, and I should use as much of the 60-character limit that I can. The next field is the eBay title. Here I want to enter an appealing and keyword-rich description using no punctuation and filling as much of the 80-character field limit as possible. I do not want to just copy and paste the short description. This is for search engine optimization purposes. You'll notice at the end of that field that it's counting the characters as you go. Now that I've finished my eBay title, I come to the bullets. Here I'll select from a menu of details that may be pertinent to the product. You'll notice that there's a hammock category in the drop-down menu. So from that bullet menu, I'm going to choose the weight capacity, which is 300 pounds according to our hammock guide. I'm also going to select hanging accessories not included and not weather resistant. Our final task is next, the aspects. Aspects will categorize the product appropriately so that customers browsing our website can locate the item using filters. The product category should already be pre-filled, as it is here, hammocks. Gender would not apply in this case. Material should always be entered. You can choose more than one material if necessary, but here we only have acrylic. Under size, I'll choose single, based on the hammock's dimensions and the guidelines provided in the hammock guide. Under style, I'll choose fabric. The next aspect is theme. There are a few themes here that might reasonably apply to this item. I'm just going to choose handwoven. You can choose more than one if you wish. Wedding selections obviously do not apply. Under design, I'll choose striped. The remaining aspects do not apply here except for color, where I will choose orange. And you can just close this window when you're done with the aspects. At this point, my work should be complete. However, I will quickly read over my titles and descriptions to make sure that I have not made any errors before I submit it. When I feel confident that the PID is complete, I will change the product status to Ready and click on Process at the top or bottom of the page.